welcome back to my channel. So we're just going to jump right into it here. As you can see, I will be making some test candles today for my business. Here we have got some wooden wick holders, some candle warning labels. I've got some Caribbean teak wood fragrance oil. I've got some tins here that I'm using, 16-ounce tin and a 4-ounce tin. And I have got some, the wicks that I'm going to be testing is Eco 10 and CD8 wicks. And I've got a pouring pitcher here that I'm going to use for my double boiler method for the wax, to melt my wax. I've got my kitchen scale. I've got my silicone measuring cup for the fragrance oil. I've got my Golden Brands 464 soy wax, my heat gun that we're going to use at the end. I've got my thermometer, my stir stick, and I've also got some wick stickers. So this is everything. I'm going to put everything in the description box so you guys can have a complete list of everything that I'm using. So first I'm going to start off with making my 16-ounce candle, and then I'm going to do the 4-ounce candle. So here I am just kind of messing around with the scale. I'm going to put my picture on, then I'm going to tear the scale to 0 because you want to make sure there's no weight of anything before you weight your wax. I'm going to, for my 16-ounce container, I will be pouring 14 ounces of wax. I actually should have done 13 because after I add the fragrance oil and everything, I was getting a little bit, it was a little bit much. But so I will be measuring in this video 14 ounces of wax. So bear with me here as I pour my wax, pour my wax, pour my wax until we get to 14 ounces. So here we are, still pouring the wax. This is actually one of my favorite parts for some reason, like using the scale and measuring my fragrance oil and my wax. I don't know what it is about this part of it, but I just love doing it. So here we are, we're almost at 14. And I try to get exact measurements, you guys, just because every little ounce counts. It does. So 13.97, 1404, whatever, we're there. That's good enough. So I've got my wax, and what I'm going to do now, I'm using a double boiler method, which means I have a pot on the stove, and then I'm going to put the picture inside the pot for the wax to melt. So while the wax is melting, I am now at the point where I'm going to be measuring my fragrance oil. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm using the Caribbean teak wood. Such a good scent. And I believe the measurement, I believe it's let me see here how much I'm going to measure. I believe it's 1.4 ounces, something like that, because I did do 10% fragrance oil. So here I am. And this this part is so funny. So there's a little trick that I picked up from some other YouTube videos I've watched of people making candles, is using the thermometer stick to kind of like help pour, to control pouring, I guess, because otherwise when you're pouring the fragrance oil, it's kind of such a delicate, it's a delicate process, so you kind of gotta take your time. And otherwise I found that if I didn't use the thermometer stick, the fragrance oil kind of just pours, it gets on the side of the bottle and it gets messy and gets everywhere. So you kind of got to take your time with it. And like I said here, using the scale, obviously you want to have as precise measurement as you can, because it does throw everything off if you go too much over. So I think we've got our measurement here, and yeah. So that portion of it is done. And so we're going to go back to my wax. We're going to stir it. It's melting. It's only been a few minutes. This wax that I'm using is Golden Brands 464 soy wax. It's 100% natural soy. And it actually doesn't take that long to melt, I find. Oh, and here also, I forgot I was going to show you guys here. This is, I go on CandleScience's website, and this is how I kind of figured out how to, what wick that I wanted to try and test using. So it gives you the brand of wax, and you kind of just get the measurement of your container. Like I said, I'm using a 16 ounce and a 4 ounce, so it gives you the suggestion of what wick sizes you should use. And I generally start off testing with the suggestions. So now that our wax, I actually, in this process, I usually let my wax melt to about 200 cool down to about 185. Then at 185, I add my fragrance oil and I stir and I stir and I stir for about 2 minutes. That's the suggested time. So I stir my fragrance oil in at 185. And don't forget here, I'm just testing. So I might change this later on. I'm not sure. This is kind of just what I'm starting out with. So I'm stirring here at 185. I'm getting all the oil. Every little bit counts. Every little bit counts. So I'm stirring for about, I believe I did it for about 2 minutes here. Just kind of stir and get everything mixed up in there. Get the wax and the fragrance oil to bind as much as you can. Like I said, this candle testing process is the temperatures are really important. That's what I'm starting to figure out. I actually did this video a couple weeks back and I'm just now doing my voiceover. So here we are. So now we are, we have our 16-ounce container and I'm going to be using 2 of the Eco 10 wicks. This is what the website suggested I use. However, like I said, I recorded this about 2 weeks ago. So since then I have burnt this candle and I've realized that I will have to switch up these wicks, maybe go a little bit lower and try to do something with a 3 wick, because these 2 wicks, even though they burnt okay, it didn't work. I found the scent throw wasn't that great, and we all know how it is working with soy wax, but the scent throw wasn't amazing for me using the 2 Eco 10s. So it burnt okay. I just wasn't happy with the scent throw. So I think I'm gonna probably test next going down to 3 Eco 4s. Not sure why. I just for some reason think that would work. So I'm just using my wick sticker and applying it to the wicks themselves, and then putting them adhering them to the bottom of my 16-ounce tin. And again, like I said, this candle making testing process, it's so interesting, but it gets so frustrating because you try something and you think it's gonna work and you're like, oh, it's gonna just smell so amazing. Because one thing about it is that I've realized, even you can have a really, really good, I'm just putting on my warning labels here. I don't really need to, I guess, because they're test candles, but just for the purpose of the video. But like I was saying, you can get a really nice cold throw and you're like, oh, this is just gonna be amazing. Because from this 16-ounce candle in particular, I got a really amazing cold throw once it was set after a few hours of pouring it, and I just thought it was gonna be so amazing, give me a really amazing hot throw, and it kind of didn't. It kind of didn't, you guys. But like I said, that's the point of testing. And the it just all depends on what wick you use. Right now, I do believe that switching it up to 3 wicks will be a better, it'll just work better for me. So that's my plan. And I'm going to probably try to do another video of me retesting, because a couple weeks later after making this video, I did burn my 4-ounce candle. Actually burned pretty well, but this one wasn't the greatest. So I'm just putting on I just had applied my wooden wick holders, and now I'm at the point where I am going ahead and pouring the wax for the 16-ounce tin. So this is also another part of the process that I really enjoy. For some reason, pouring the wax is very relaxing. And I just try to pour as slow and steady as I can. You don't want to just go and dump it in there, because you want a really smooth top. And I actually think, I'm trying to remember, I got a very smooth top actually. I poured this was at 135. The temperature is 135 when I pour. I find that generally works for having a really nice smooth top.